Totally had problems connecting to the internet. Hopefully this one is actually working. I am so happy to be here with you guys today. I want to talk to you all about the power of diving deep and essentially how powerful I have seen this work in my business. And what I do, as many of you guys know, is I'm a transformational business coach. And so really the work I do is all about diving deep with the clients that I have the honor of serving and supporting. And so one of the most beautiful things that I have found in working with my clients is doing really deep listening. And the opportunity really to be a coach, especially, one that is transformational. There's, coaches of all kinds, right? But in the work that I do, it's very transformational. The spiritual coach and mentor that I worked with for a long time really gave me a style that I feel like is more, is just, it's a deeper style. There's some coaches that don't want to hear story, and not that we go into too much story or let that be pervasive, but I think that there's real power in deep listening and deep diving. And so here's what I mean by deep diving that I think is the differentiator that often happens is you work with maybe a business consultant, or you work with someone who's helping you with your business in some way, and they're really just scratching the surface. And the power of the deep dive is that we get underneath the surface, and really this is about the safe space to get a little bit deeper, to reveal the stuff that you may not be feeling safe to tell a lot of people, kind of the deep dark secrets about what's not working, what you're scared of, what might be holding you back, and to be able to really explore those from a place of deep honesty and deep listening even within yourself. And that's a lot of the powerful work that I have done with my clients and have seen time and time again has been an absolute transformational experience, because I had so many sessions yesterday. I had back-to-back sessions yesterday, and some of the people, especially when somebody first talks to me, one of the experiences that they have most every single time is just how good it feels to be able to share it with somebody, to share these different layers. And then of course, working with an experienced coach, you're able to really dive underneath layers. I'm kind of helping you untangle these pieces or open these boxes, or it's almost like looking behind something in a cupboard that's been tucked away. And so that's what's been so incredibly cathartic and powerful, because ultimately the work that I do is guiding you to the wisdom of your own truth, and recognizing that you have all these answers within. I can be a guide, I can use my intuition, I can use certainly what I see in my own reflection, but that dance and that exchange that we're able to have with each other, and the opportunity that I have with my ability to deep listen and have us dive a little deeper, have us untangle these pieces, that is where the true transformation happens. And it's incredible. And one of the other things I want to say is, I personally, one of my commitments at the beginning of this year, as many of you guys may know, I was called to be a clear channel. And that was the message that I got very clearly. I was called to be a clear channel, and that as a result, I have totally stopped drinking. I don't even drink coffee. And really, it's so much about double down on your genius, that nothing will derail me, numb me, nothing. And so it's about showing up to this work fully and completely. And that's a lot of the work I do with my clients as well, is that sometimes when we are, if one of my clients is stuck in a pattern of not being able to make a decision because they're not clear, or they're feeling really scared, or whatever that may be, you can find yourself in a loop of not really committing, not really making a choice, not knowing where you're going because you don't really have a plan, or you don't really even know what you want, because you don't want to even have to decide maybe on one thing, because you really like the idea that you have choice and you have freedom. And all of this stuff usually stems back to this comfort zone, right? It's way more comfortable, just staying in a place of not knowing, coasting, chilling, you know, like checking out, numbing, being totally derailed, it's way easier to say, oh, I don't really know what I'm doing, or I don't know what I'm up to, and stay in this comfort zone of inaction versus actually recognizing that there's a part of you that really wants something more and wants to go after it, and you just may need the support to find your way there and to find what that is. So the other piece that I'll say is, you know, in addition to my being called to be a clear channel, one of the very clear messages that I got at the beginning of this year was that I want to be doing more immersive transformational events, and really just immersive transformational work. And what I mean by that is really being able to work with people in a way that is immersive. So in this, like, honoring this, one of the things I've realized, and I notice this, you know, if I have a call with a client that's like an hour long, you know, sometimes I'll even have a client, we'll keep going, because the real juice, it's like you get an hour in, and then we're back behind those boxes. We're back in the back of, like, the kind of the darker corners in the back of the closet that finally are coming to the surface. And that's really the power of the deep dive, is we're giving space, we're allowing enough time for then those things that are the last things that really want to maybe come out, right? The things that you're like, you don't want to share, or just aren't right at the surface. I mean, that's why they call this, you know, shadow work and deeper work, because it's not the surface stuff. It's not the stuff that, you know, your top of mind might be like, oh, I need to get my bookkeeping in order. But what's underneath that, right? It's a lot of layered stuff underneath that, and sometimes it's shrouded in shame or embarrassment or lots of fear. And so the deep dive is really like peeling off those layers and creating that safe space to dive and do this exploration, to where then we finally meet that place. And the most powerful experience that I've seen with my clients is that space and that loving, safe place where they can continue to peel back the layers of this onion and to explore these places that they may not even have explored in themselves, that they haven't, right? Because we don't take the time to do these deep dives with ourselves. It's way too uncomfortable on our own often, right? It's way too scary on our own quite often, or we don't know how to untangle it or see the forest from the trees on our own. So it's, you know, way easier that we just go for some mac and cheese, or go for a beer, or we do kind of our favorite pastime of checking out. We scroll through Facebook, right? We do whatever it is that's going to help us not have to sit with those really, really tough emotions, those very real, very intense stuff that is at the core, deep down underneath. And so for us to really recognize that the power of having someone supporting you through that and staying with you as you peel back the layers of that onion, and as you dive into these deeper layers that are murky, you know, they're tangled. And if you've ever been in a conversation like this, and this happens a lot with clients and even with myself when I'm working with my own coach and guide, that I'll get to a point where you may get to a point where you lose your train of thought, or you just almost can't make sense of it. And it's that piece right there, right? It's like, that's where then I am able to kind of like help them untangle. It's like as if you had like this really tight ball of yarn or something really tangled up of all this string, and you can't even see anything, right? But as we start untangling it, you can start seeing like a little bit of light start shining through, and you can start seeing, oh, okay, that can go through there, okay, right? And you can start untangling what was before this just totally dark, you know, gapless, tight ball that you couldn't even see. And most of the time you just would pass right around, like, okay, there's no way to get through that, so I'm just going to pass right around it. I'm going to numb it. I'm going to, you know, try to stuff that away. I'm going to put it in the back of my closet because it's like I can't even use it. I can't even understand it, right? So this power in the deep dive is something I'm really passionate about, and I think is the most transformational work that I'm ever able to do, and that's why I, have loved one-on-one for so long, is being able to really dive deep in this way and support my clients in this way. And I'm actually going to stop doing, I have already stopped doing one-on-one as much as I have in years past, but the one-on-one that I am going to be doing moving forward and for any new clients is more deep dive work. And the offer that I have now for any of you guys who are watching who have been interested in potentially working with me, but historically you've had to step in and work with me for 6 months to a year. But if you're curious about exploring this, one of the pieces that I'm offering right now is a deep dive, and this is just starting out with me for a 2-hour deep dive. And this is something that is, like I said, transformational. I will completely prepare you for this deep dive, so I'll have an extensive questionnaire that you can fill out so that when we get on the call we really make the most of these 2 hours. But it's absolutely transformational, and I'll guide you through the whole way. But really it's my intention to support those that are ready for this work. You're ready for this next step in your evolution, this next step in your business journey or your path, that you're ready to untangle something that's feeling really thick or really heavy, or there's been something really scary that you haven't known how to face on your own, or who to talk it out with, whether it be about your business or your own fears or the ways that you're wanting to birth something big into your life. So if this is of interest to you, you can send me a message here on Facebook, and in particular, just for anyone who's listening, my invitation to you, no matter where you are in your life, is to practice deep listening with those around you, and also to fine-tune your own ability to listen to yourself and listen to, what are those whispers that are whispering deep down inside for you, and to really be able to listen to that and listen closely, and then to call in support in whatever way that looks like for you, but to really call in that support of someone that is willing to listen and preferably is trained in deep listening, so that that you're really being heard and hopefully even being guided through your own process. It's some of the most powerful work I've ever done. I've been working with guides and coaches for years and years and years in my life, and it's been the greatest gift I can give to myself, and for those who step in with me as well, it's been the greatest gift that they have given themselves. The most single biggest game changer, which I wrote in the title of this, has been really the power of support, and that so many of the clients that I've worked with have felt so alone or so on their own, and that this work of really helping them transform their relationship with themselves, that includes everything from their own self-trust and boundaries and communication with themselves, getting in relationship with the big ideas that they want to birth out into the world, all those pieces. It's life-changing. It absolutely gives, I've these tools that my clients have now for the rest of their lives, to step out of, victim and be a creator, a powerful creator in their lives, or even just to simply, stand in their power of and their value of all the gifts that are flowing through them, and to kind of help rid of that imposter complex of who do you think you are, but instead to really be remembering who are you to question these gifts that are coming through you, and to get out of your own way and to let them come through unapologetically, because your reason for being here and all the experience that you have had in your life up into this moment is so that you are prepared and ready to deliver and serve others in this way. So stop doubting yourself, and that's really the power of this deep dive work, is for me to be able to, reflect all of your own brilliance, all of your gifts, all your abilities, so that you can remember, that truth that's within you. You can remember how this is truly your calling and it's not going anywhere. You know, you can't numb it. You can't, you know, not listen to it. It's always going to be there and wants to come through. So how instead can we support you in the best way? How can you, and this is a big thing that I teach and support my clients with, is like, how can you support yourself in the best way you know how? And sometimes we need support finding out how we can support ourselves, and that's okay. There's like no shame in that, nothing wrong with it. It's, like I said, been the most powerful work I've done, and absolutely transformational for so many of the hundreds of clients I've had the opportunity to work with. It's a real gift. So blessings to you on your path. Thank you for listening. And if you are interested in this deep dive with me, just reach out and say, hey, I'm interested in the deep dive, and I can send you details and we'll go from there. Hope you have a wonderful day or evening wherever you are. Mwah.